Peace. Bam. Bam. Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now. I'm like, somebody, when I did my little bam, somebody kind of looking at me like, what's wrong with him? I'm straight. I'm good. But blessed, happy now. I want to speak a little bit on energy vortexes, but what I really want to talk about is how Venice Beach may be like a new energy vortex, so to speak. Because I know that it does have energy flowing around it just in general, but I came across channel information that actually came through a human being, you know what I'm saying? But then also, other little information leaked in afterwards. But first off, let's speak on vortexes. Now, matter of fact, before I get into vortex, your chakra in essence is like a vortex. Your vortex could be seen as like something like a little miniature tornado. Matter of fact, or the top part of a torus field, the little apple-looking torus field where it look like got a tornado at the top and tornado at the bottom, and they meet in the middle, where you could think of a vortex as the top part of the torus field, and which would make sense. That's why too we're dealing with manifestation, stuff like that. Why Abraham Hicks used the terminology in your vortex, you know what I'm saying? In your your torus field in essence is like a vortex. But a vortex is like a energetic field, that basically whether it's pulling out energy or pushing out energy, either one. But they are energy fields. And matter of fact, they deal with gravitational, magnetic, electrical, and sound energy fields. As a matter of fact, dealing with like discovering vortexes and stuff like that. Because if y'all ever heard of the place Sedona in Arizona, Sedona has a bunch of energy vortexes in that area. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of high vibrational, energies is in that area just from going around there, because it's pulling higher energies from somewhere else and bringing it in that area of Sedona, And matter of fact, and that's why like they're able to discover these places like Sedona, is because of the fact that like when they look at the energetic fields, is different from other places. It's like a more stronger, concentrated feeling. Like dealing with the gravitational, magnetic, electrical, and sound fields is more stronger, more concentrated than other places. So that's how they end up, discovering it, or that's where they get the feeling from, or the vibe is, from feeling a stronger vibe dealing with these energetic fields. And also too, which I did a video not too long ago about how like the in Kemet, dealing with, you see all these pharaohs or any of these statues, and they got a staff. You see Osiris, all these people, Jehudi, they got some type of ankh or some type of staff with them. But that staff, you could also, and I didn't use this terminology last time I did other video, but I'm gonna use it now. It's like a dowsing tool, like a dowsing staff in essence. If y'all familiar with dowsing, where you take a pendulum, you know what I'm saying, and you douse it over something to find energy, or to answer questions, different methods. Matter of fact, I got a video on that too. But yeah, you could use like a dowsing staff. As a matter of fact, back in the day, well, way in the Kemetic times for sure, but I'm talking about in the near recent history, like say for instance, for people to discover stuff like Sedona, but people use like dowsing methods, to find those energy fields, that concentration of energy. But the staffs back in the day, like the ankh staffs, all this, you know what I'm saying, were used to, say for instance, you would hold your hand on a certain part, and it could tell whether it was matter of fact, like an energy vortex like Sedona over here. So this would be a great place to meditate and build like our tribal tents, our meditation area over here, because you douse the area and you felt the energy. Or put your hand on another part, douse it in, they got some water under this land, you dousing it for water, see if there's some underground water nearby, you know what I'm saying. But that's where the staffs were basically like big dowsing tools in essence, But I'm thinking about like this energy vortex in Venice. Matter of fact, I came across a brethren who talked about like in 1987, they had a strong like energy vortex, and they're saying like how Venice Beach is one of the most mixed populated areas in the world as far as like from class to race to everything, you know what I'm saying? It's just like a mixture of people, you know what I'm saying? And it was like on record for that, you know, a while back. But it's like it had some type of energy that passed through, because he asked me how, you know, what year I was born. I told him I wanted to go to Venice Beach and stuff. He's like, what year you born? Like 1987. And he was like, they have an energy vortex in Venice Beach that resonate with people that was born in 1987, you know? And it makes sense. It was funny, he repeated, in his own words, talking about, like, you know, when he's like, man, when I went, bro, it's like, man, my heart in Venice. And that, because I never forget, like, when me and my brethren went to Venice, I remember, and when I said it, I knew, like, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm gonna be. Like, I was like, bro, my heart is on that beach, like, my heart is there. Like, as we were leaving, I'm like, bro, I'm like, hold on, I'm leaving my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, is that strong feeling of wanting to be there, you know? And that's why a lot of us, you know, dealing with spirituality. Matter of fact, and a lot of us just moving in general, you know what I'm saying? But two, you know, making that westward move, you know what I'm saying? In California, you know, you got a lot of high vibrations out here. You also have Mount Shasta, you know, which is a earth chakra. Mount Shasta has extremely beautiful energy there. Matter of fact, I can't wait to go. Matter of fact, I can wait to go. Matter of fact, don't use that term looking forward or can't wait. Yes, you can wait, and you don't want to look forward because you like the moment. So I'm ready for that moment. You know, I'm ready to go to Mount Shasta, you know. I know they got some beautiful energies up there. But yeah, he was talking about how, you know, that energy vortex in Venice, you know, has been bringing the 87 babies back to it, in essence, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, it definitely makes sense, because I know, like, I resonate with it a lot. And I see people just in general, you know, making moves. Some people, again, moving all over the place, but a lot of people kind of, well, and it's funny because even if people not necessarily moving and staying to Cali, like a lot recently, I've been seeing a lot of people just come visit Cali. Like, matter of fact, I'm from Louisiana, and right after I made my move, was like, either people trying to low-key follow me, or is everybody taking trips near California now, you know what I'm saying? But it's something to say about that energy vortex in Venice. And if you ever been in Venice, like, you could just feel it, you know what I'm saying? I always tell people it's like a multicultural, it's like a beach version of Bourbon Street without the getting drunk and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But it has that spiritual vibe, like that strong spiritual vibration that reminds you of Bourbon. Bourbon has a strong duality vibration where you feel, you know, the quote-unquote dark energy and the light energy is both strong in New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? Like, but out here it's more of a light energy. You could feel it's dark areas too, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure, like, if you go by Bohemian Grove, which a lot of people don't know is in California, where the presidents do their little fake cremation thing, quote-unquote fake sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? It's like in a little forest somewhere in California, you know, but maybe the energy, you know, may be lower around there, but you know, it's definitely an energy vortex, and I feel it, because even when the brethren told me that, and lately, and that's another thing too, man. When you're aligned, when you're in tune, it's almost like you should trust almost everything that come to you, unless it doesn't sit well with you in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, so say for instance, as the brother coming to me with this information, if I'd have been feeling like, you know, like, nah, this ain't sit, then you know, yeah, then it wasn't the information for me. But if I'm sitting right with the information, and that information, you know, in essence was meant for me to get, as I I lost where the segue was going right there. Oh yeah, but just knowing, like, the truthfulness in me getting that channel, that's where I was kind of going. And say for instance, we're in 2017 right now, so in essence from '87 this marks like a 30-year anniversary, you know. And matter of fact, our body changes every 7 years, so let's see. Yep. So I've been through 4 7-year cycles. Matter of fact, when you're 28 years old, that's like your 4th 7-year cycle. So, you know, right after my 4th 7-year cycle, it was like, you know, time to move. And you start to see how prophetic, like dealing with the Christ-like energy, where the changes in your life, and you start to see like how much of the Jesus Christ story is really a personification of the energy, but how much it really do personify in the physical. Well, like I'm out here. I moved to Cali when I made 30. I think it was 33 when when Jesus was crucified. I'm not sure. I'm not particular with the information, so I don't want to slaughter them. Beep, beep. Back away from that. But just the significance in being around the age of 30 and looking for that spiritual, ascension, at that point, it resonates with those type of ancient stories, you know what I'm saying, of trying to be one with this Christ consciousness. But that's really it. I just wanted to bring up, how it seemed like that may be some type of new energy vortex. So just keep that in mind, from now to the near future, that the energy, and I'm not jumping the gun, but I am ahead of time. I feel like you could feel the energy right now, on that level, but I feel like it won't have like that super Sedona type of effect to maybe like the next 2 or 3 years in that sense, like as time progresses. But I really do can almost say I know an energy vortex is opening up in Venice Beach, and a lot of great things, a lot of great experiences, a lot of great vibrations are gonna be able to be experienced in that area, So if you're feeling the vibe, you might want to check it out. But that's basically it. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past.